Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question for the doctor. So earlier we had heard from a state senator, I believe, and in his presentation, when it had the vote totals, it had a decimal point and then numbers after. And so this perfectly makes sense if what you're saying is one vote is one vote, two votes is two votes. But if there's some way there's something added to it electronically to have a weighted vote as a 1.25, so every vote for this person is a 1.25, would that be the way those decimal points got there?
Well, yeah. I mean, the issue is why are our votes being stored not as whole integers versus what we're called floating point variables in computer science or in math, right? So when a developer writes a program, it should be very important. I've been programming for many, many years. And the first thing you learn is when you are writing a software program, you have to be extremely conscious on how you're declaring variables, right? This variable is an integer, which means it can only be, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This variable is going to be a decimal, which is also called a float or a double, which means it can be 1.1, 1.3, so on. So the fact that the vote count is stored as a decimal, to me, when I first learned about this in my own Senate race here in Massachusetts, it was quite disconcerting, because this means that consciously people are putting into the software a capability to have fractional voting. And that's what this leads to. And why is there such a feature or capability, and why are our votes even being stored as fractions or decimals? And I think this is probably the central question of our time, probably going back to the 3/5 compromise of 1787. Do we have one person, one vote, or do we have one person, not one vote? And in the era of electronic software systems, I think the courts need to step in and re-clarify one person, one vote, going back to 1964, the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution.
Mr. Chairman.